Millions of Americans experience some sort of identity theft each year. A particular type of identity theft is when a criminal uses a stolen Social Security number or numbers to file tax returns to fraudulently claim tax credits. Like all other forms of identity theft, tax identity theft can create a huge disruption in people's lives and greatly delay the processing of returns and the issuance of refunds. I'm the Tax Geek, and here is tax identity theft, how to deal with it, and ways you can prevent it, oversimplified. In 2019, the IRS handled over 137,000 tax identity theft cases. This may seem like a lot, but that figure is dwarfed by the 688,000 cases the IRS handled in 2015. During that time, the IRS has developed and strengthened procedures designed to make sure that persons filing tax returns are not imposters. Refunds from all returns involving earned income credit, child tax credit, and American Opportunity Credit are held until the second half of February. This gives the IRS more time to match documents to returns. Anyone could be the victim of tax identity theft. The elderly are particularly vulnerable since many elderly people are not required to file tax returns and thus have no idea their Social Security numbers have been stolen for criminal purposes. Most people find out their identities have been stolen for tax purposes when a tax return they submitted for e-file is rejected. The reason for the rejection will be that the Social Security number of the primary taxpayer, spouse, or dependent was used as either the primary taxpayer or a dependent on a previously filed return. You might also be the victim of tax identity theft if you receive IRS notices or reporting documents such as W-2s or 1099s from payers you don't recognize. So that being said, what should you do when your or a spouse's or dependent's Social Security number has been used to file a fraudulent tax return? Tax identity theft is handled much like any other form of identity theft, with a few additional steps unique to the tax identity theft situation. Number 1. File a report with the Federal Trade Commission or local police. To file an identity theft report with the Federal Trade Commission, go to www.identitytheft.gov. Filing a report with the FTC or your local police is essential because it establishes that you believe a crime has been committed. Producing a copy of this report on request might help resolve your case a bit more quickly. Number 2. Check and freeze your credit. Contact all 3 of the major credit bureaus and obtain copies of your credit reports. The criminal who has possession of your Social Security number is likely to use it for other purposes as well. Look for items on your reports that you do not recognize and dispute these items, asking they be removed from your reports. And lastly, put a fraud watch or freeze on your credit so that nobody except for you, after your identity is verified, can use your Social Security number to make an inquiry or open an account. Number 3. File your tax return. You will have to mail a paper copy of your return to the IRS. Include with the return a Form 14039 Identity Theft Affidavit properly filled out and signed. It's also a good idea to include a copy of an identification document, such as a driver's license, military ID, or the declaration page from your passport, as well as a copy of the report you filed with the police or FTC. If you're expecting a refund on this return, I'm sorry to say that it may take several months to get it. However, if you have a balance due on your return, you need to pay it by the due date of the return. Do not wait until the IRS clears your identity case. In fact, reporting a balance due on your return and paying that balance due is substantial proof that your return, and not the imposter's, is the genuine return. The IRS will then attempt to verify your identity. You will receive an identity verification letter. Carefully follow the instructions in the letter. When you call, you should have both your current year and previous year's tax returns because the representative will ask you questions about them. This call should be made by you. You can designate a person to represent you, but you must both be present when making the call. The IRS will allow a parent to verify a child's identity. Once the IRS has established your identity as the genuine filer, they will void the imposter's return, allowing the processing of your return. Also, once your identity has been established, the IRS will send you a letter with an Identity Protection Personal Identification Number late in the year to take effect in the following year. All returns you e-file for that year and all subsequent years must be filed using your IP PIN. You will receive a new IP PIN each year. If you lose or for one reason or another don't receive your IP PIN, you can request a replacement by going to www.irs.gov/get-an-IP-PIN. So what are the best ways to prevent tax identity theft? First, file as early as you practically can. Once you've e-filed your return, you've prevented an imposter from doing so. Next, protect your Social Security number. Do not carry your Social Security card on your person in a wallet or purse. Memorize your number and have your children memorize theirs. Even the Social Security Administration says that the safest place to keep your Social Security number is in your head. Question anyone who requests your Social Security number where there isn't an apparent reason for them to have it. Never ever give your Social Security number to anyone who calls you, emails you, or text messages you. If you receive Medicare, that goes for your Medicare number as well. Finally, even if you haven't experienced tax identity theft, you can request your own identity protection PIN from the IRS. To do that, go to www.irs.gov/get-an-IP-PIN. Establish or log into your IRS online account and go through the identity verification procedure. Obtaining an IP PIN will prevent anyone from e-filing a tax return with your Social Security number, except for you. This video only covers the most basic information involving tax identity theft. I've included several websites and phone numbers in the video description that you'll find helpful if you experience tax identity theft, or any form of identity theft for that matter. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who would find it useful. Subscribing to the channel and tapping the bell gives you immediate access to new Tax Geek videos. And of course, your questions, comments, and suggestions are always welcome in the comment space below. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more of your taxes oversimplified.